The broadcast you are about to hear is scientific fiction. Action 80.
Attention, CENCLAN 1, Headquarters, Defense Command, Washington. Commander Mark T. Richards, USN, reporting. Addressee, Action 80. Subject, Project Sailfish, Code 7, Classification Top Secret. Following is brought to your immediate attention. This is urgent. Repeat, this is urgent.
This is Dan Coverly. Stay tuned now as we take you to a naval base somewhere in the United States for a report on the first atomic submarine. Naval Commander Mark T. Richards reporting.
Pursuant to Buper's orders dated 1 April 1952, I was detached from temporary duty with Naval Defense Command, Washington, and reported to Andrews Field for immediate transportation to New Haven, Connecticut. From there, I was directed to proceed without delay to Naval Base Charlie, where I was to report to Admiral R.L. Carruthers, commanding. In accordance with the above, I was assigned transportation aboard military air transport plane C-868, Andrews Field. At 1300 hours on April 1952, said aircraft departed Andrews Field. After a routine flight, the transport landed at New Haven, Connecticut, time 1642. I reported to the transportation officer and received a driver and a jeep. At 1815, I arrived and reported with orders to the office of Admiral Carruthers.
Richards?
Yes, sir. Reporting for duty, sir.
Please sit down.
Thank you, sir.
Cigar?
No, thank you, Admiral.
Imported Havana. Nice aroma, don't you think?
Yes, sir. Very nice, sir.
Commander Richards, what do you know about Project Sailfish?
Atomic submarine, sir. Authorized by the Secretary of Defense. Begun May 1949. Designated experimental vessel X-915. Cost about $50 million.
What about the timetable?
And I believe the first atomic sub is scheduled for test runs next year.
I see you've been reading the newspapers.
And the file in the bureau, sir.
Suppose I told you both news ships and the daily papers are wrong. Since this base was activated, Commander, world conditions have changed. The Navy's no longer satisfied with the 8-hour day, the 40-hour week. For this reason, we have been on a round-the-clock basis for almost 6 months. Project Sailfish is 1 year ahead of schedule. Yes, it deserves a whistle. If we could publicly display our accomplishments, the fact is we can't.
Not even to the Bureau of Ships, sir?
Not even to Congress.
I'm beginning to understand why my orders were classified top secret.
Commander, there are 307 men working on this base. Every single one of these men has been given the most thorough loyalty check possible. Every single one of them have been working and living behind barbed wire for the past 6 months.
But you suspect a leak, sir?
We're not sure. 2 days ago, a convoy arrived at the base. 8 trucks. In one of those trucks was the Steinberg periscope.
I've heard of it, sir.
But not more than a handful have. Yet when the periscope was being installed yesterday aboard the X-915, it fell to the deck, made completely inoperative.
Inoperative? But how in the world...
The cable on the crane lifting it into place snapped. Steel cable.
Had it been cut, sir?
It had not. In fact, the lab technicians assured me it simply broke under the strain.
Well, if the lab...
Just a moment. That cable was designed to support 100 tons. The Steinberg periscope weighs less than 20.
Well, yet the cable broke from strain, sir.
All right, Commander. There are 2 possibilities. One, that the cable was faulty to begin with, a manufacturer's mistake. I'm having Washington check that for me now. The second, that someone on this base somehow weakened that cable.
Sabotage.
Exactly. Commander, only one thing matters to me right now, that the X-915 completes her first trial runs. They must proceed according to plan, without interruption. That's why I filed my report to Action 80.
Yes, sir. I'll help in any way I can, sir. When do you plan to test the sub? Sometime this month?
Not this month, Commander. Tomorrow.
2100 hours, Tuesday, 1 April. After leaving Admiral Carruthers' office, I checked into the BQ. I had dinner at the officers' mess and then looked up Lieutenant Commander Stanley Linden, Chief Engineering Officer on the base. Admiral Carruthers had suggested I talk to him. In his quarters, I was told Linden was at the docks, working. Naval Base Charlie was surrounded by barbed wire. Yet within the base itself was still a smaller area, surrounded by more barbed wire, patrolled by armed sailors every 10 yards. I found the inner gate and presented the special yellow pass handed to me by the Admiral. Even with the high-priority yellow, I was given the same checkout received by any other visitor to this inner barbed wire area. For here it was, behind the wire, that the United States ship X-915 was moored. The first atomic submarine. Floodlights covered the area and brought a glaring whiteness over the faces of the men working. But that wasn't what caught my eye. It was the thing that lay alongside the dock, the iron and steel monster that nestled against the pier like a giant pig. And the men swarming over her decks were like her brood come to eat. Here she was, black, hideous, beautiful. The X-915, 5,000 tons, $50 million. The Navy's first line of defense in any future war. The atomic age, gone down to the sea in ships. I found Lieutenant Commander Stanley London standing just outside a 6x6 wooden shack near the docks. We shook hands. He invited me inside.
Admiral Carruthers phoned you coming down, Commander.
What's the story, London, about the Steinberg periscope?
What's the story? I wish you could tell me.
Well, how do you feel about it, personally?
Me?
Yes, you, not official Navy.
Sabotage.
I see.
Don't ask me why I feel that way or what tells me something has gone wrong around here. But something has.
More than just the periscope?
Oh, a lot more. Something else has happened, Commander, to the men, the crew, the officers.
Is it the speed up?
Well, it could be. 24-hour days, 7-day weeks. Even with 3 shifts, you get the feeling of rush, of hurry. Get it done right now. Get it done yesterday.
Your crane operator, you think he had something to do with it?
Thompson? No. Well, then I could say that about almost every man on the base. They were hand-picked, Commander. Not just stray workmen with know-how, but the best. Nobody applied for a job here, not even me. We were all chosen.
And the loss of your periscope doesn't postpone your trial run set tomorrow?
Oh, no. Washington didn't take chances with anything on Project Sailfish. Not 1, but 2 Steinberg periscopes were made. The second was installed less than an hour ago.
Action 80.
I beg your pardon, Commander?
Basic principle of Action 80, Lyndon. Don't be certain. Be twice certain.
Commander, just who is Action 80? I've noticed every order out of this base lists them as an addressee.
Action 80 was born out of the unification program, Lyndon. In charge of all experimental development. Navy, Marine, Air Force, Army, even some civilian experiments. Wherever there's a major project developing, you'll find Action 80 behind it.
Kind of a board of directors overseeing tomorrow?
Yes, except that tomorrow is usually here today.
Yeah.
You remember the B-29, Lyndon? Action 80 was the force behind it. The same was true with radar, jet aircraft, atomic energy. Not so futuristic at that, huh, Lyndon?
And Action 80 is simply the code designation.
Right. What's your ETD for tomorrow, London?
Estimated time of departure, 0700, that is.
Good.
Well, Commander, are you...
When the X-915 makes her first trial run at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, London, I'm going to be aboard. Good night. 0650 hours. Wednesday, 2 April 1952. Captain Z.L. Unger, USN Commanding Officer, set special sea detail aboard the USS X-915. At 0700, the X-915 was underway. Lieutenant Commander Linden and myself stood on the bridge beside Captain Unger. And as the veteran captain gave his orders to the engine room, you could see the veins in his neck pulsating. The first atomic sub was underway. 0830. The X-915 was in the open sea. Linden and I were below decks.
Those engines sound good.
Yes. What's our speed, Linden?
30 knots. Traveling at 2/3.
Cruise at 50?
Well, that's what the book says. 50 knots.
45 knots submerged.
Ah, been reading the same book, Commander.
Today's test is speed and maneuverability. Test A, right?
Right. Tomorrow we go for depth.
If we make it today. $10 hours. Captain Unger gave the command to standard speed. The X-915 responded softly and efficiently and made 50 knots. 1100 hours. Captain Unger gave the command to flank speed. And we made good 60 knots. Nothing in the United States Navy could catch her. 1200 hours. Speed set at standard. And now the technicians took over, an even dozen swarming over everything mechanical and electronic, giving the X-915 macroscopic scrutiny, checking against charts, checking against gauges, checking against sabotage. At 1700 hours, the exercises were secured. At 1730, the X-915 tied up alongside the dock at Naval Base Charlie. The pig boat of tomorrow was everything the Navy had hoped for, and then some. The pig boat of tomorrow was here to stay. Lyndon and I went to the BOQ, changed clothes, and joined Admiral Carruthers for dinner in his office. Lyndon reported, and I listened. If there was sabotage aboard the atomic sub that had kept itself well hidden, everybody was pleased. I decided to continue my investigations on shore the next day. Instead of joining Test Run Baker at 0700, Lyndon and I bid the Admiral good night and headed for our quarters. 0700, Thursday, 3 April, 1952. The USS X-915 underway for depth tests. 0800. I began an investigation of the dock area. 0930. I was summoned to the office of Admiral Carruthers. The messenger said it was urgent.
Never mind that. Put me through to Washington at once. That's right. At once. Come in, Commander Richards. Hello, Washington. Get me the Secretary of Defense. I don't care where he is now. Get him. All right. Call me back right away. Commander.
Yes, sir.
There are some charts on that table over there. Get them. I want them on my desk.
Yes, sir.
What? He's in a meeting? What the dickens do I care if he's in a meeting? No, I don't care if he's with the president. Get him. Right.
Here are your charts, sir.
Good. You know the test area for today's trials, Richard. Circle them.
Yes, sir. I, believe this covers Area Stork, Admiral.
Sorry to keep you in suspense this way, Commander, but I haven't had time to explain. What? You've got him? Oh, good. Hello? Hello? Yes, this is Carruthers. Yes, sir. Yes, that's right. No, nothing's changed. No, sir. I want authority to put Plan Zebra in effect at once. Yes, at once. Good. Thank you. Yes, right away. All right, Commander Richards, this is it. The X-915 began depth maneuvers at 0800. They would remain at various depths until 0900. It is now 940. The X-915 has not surfaced.
But what about radio contact, sir?
Silence. They have not answered a radio message since 8:45.
Then they're in trouble.
No, Commander, I do not think the atomic sub is in trouble.
But surely if they haven't answered radio calls...
That sub was equipped with any number of special emergency devices, including an automatic marker which would immediately rise to the surface should any trouble develop with the engines.
No markers have appeared, sir?
Furthermore, if she were on the bottom, her captain had only to press a key to discharge a large buoy.
Then if she isn't in trouble,
There's only one conclusion. The X-915 is deliberately remaining silent and is proceeding under her own orders to some unknown destination.
And her destroyer escorts have lost contact with her?
The accompanying destroyers report the sub disappeared off their sonar screen at full submerged speed, 45 knots. No destroyer in our fleet could catch her, even if we knew where she was heading. Commander Richards, there's only one possible conclusion. The X-915 has fallen into enemy hands.
1000 hours, 3 April 1952. Admiral Carruthers' office. Amidst the deluge of telephone calls, teletypes, and clattering decoding machines, the Admiral explains Plan Zebra.
15 plans were evolved covering each phase of the trial runs of Project Sailfish. Each plan covered a particular contingency. Of all 15, Plan Zebra was to be used only in the case of extreme emergency.
Yes, sir.
In brief, Plan Zebra covered the possibility of capture of the X-915 by alien forces. You see, Commander Richards, even though such an occurrence as this was unlikely in the extreme, every possible mishap in this operation had to be provided for.
And the Secretary gave you permission to put this plan into effect, sir?
Roger. Within half an hour, a task force will steam out of 3 separate bases on the Atlantic coast. They will rendezvous at this point. Here, on the chart.
That's about 100 miles southeast of this base.
Right. When the task force is rendezvoused, they will then begin Search Able, which is the second step in Plan Zebra.
to find the X-915.